Hi, greetings of the day. Welcome to my channel AI. My name is Vidya. I'm a passionate technologist, cloud and AI architect. Now that we have learned about the basic building blocks of what is essential for writing a Kubernetes client application using Client-Go, we'll go ahead and build a client application to dump resources or the count of resources in our own fashion. So to begin with, we go ahead and check if we have any running pods on our kind cluster. We don't have any, and therefore we will go ahead and now deploy. To deploy, I have the deployment YAML defined here, which Nginx as a default container that I would like to call upon and create two copies of the deployment pods. So I'll go ahead and apply kubectl apply minus f. I have deployment file here. Yeah, good. The deployment is created. So now we'll see the pods that are available on the namespace. Okay, it's creating two containers. Two pods are coming up. Let me go ahead and check further if it's running. Yeah, they are running. So now we have two pods running that's matching this deployment template. Now we are good to go and write our client application that will fetch these pods and list them according to our client application. I will create a folder. N parts. I'll hop into N parts and then initialize the package. Go mod init N parts. Good. We'll have the mod file created here. That's fine. Go.mod. Alright. Now I need to write my client application. I'll simply say pods.go. Yeah. We have pods.go here. So we start with package main as usual and then import some standard packages. For now we'll keep it with FMT. We'll add them as and when it is required. Then we have the function name. For the client application to connect with the Kubernetes control plane, we need to have the client authenticated and authorized. So we will define kubeconfig, which we will accept either through a argument to this application or as a parameter. So for accepting it as an argument, we have flag dot string and then the path. So I have the kube definition here. The third parameter will be path to kubeconfig. So this will be dot kube. Okay. So for this we will import the client CMD. If you remember while discussing about packages and Client-Go repositories, we had mentioned that tools client CMD is used to import the kubeconfig kh.io slash client go slash tools slash client CMD. Okay. This imports the client CMD from Client-Go in order to read and parse the kubeconfig file. The default location for the kubeconfig will be .kube/config in the user's home directory, and home directory here is with R. It's also available via kubectl for it to get the credentials from the Kubernetes cluster. So now we have this. I'll say config.error client cmd dot build config from flags star. So pointer. Okay. We're not going to do much about error handling. So if error is not equal to no fmt dot println error percentage yes processing config file. Okay. Not much of error handling. Error handling to be handled later. And this is done by importing client CMD from Client-Go in order to read and parse kubeconfig. kubectl and various other client applications definitely have to connect to the Kubernetes cluster and gain access to kubeconfig, and this is how you do that. You have saved it. We will now go ahead and get this. Go get. Yeah, so we download the package. Yeah, good. We are using flag here, and so we need the package flag. Save it. As usual, we'll go and see if there are any typos or anything that's missing. Perform some sanity checks so that we don't see the errors when building it. It's not always nice to see errors during building. It looks nasty, which I always try to avoid. This needs to be assigned. Otherwise, we would end up with kubeconfig undefined error message. Good to notice that now. Okay. With all this set, we will see if this is running the pods yet. Good. So now we go ahead and build it. Things look okay because we know that we have declared config here and it's yet to be used further. Otherwise, rest of it is fine. So let's move ahead. We'll create the client set now. It's also because we get handled to multiple clients in the Kubernetes cluster. Client set da comma error colon equal to Kubernetes dot new for config. Now we use this, and so this error should vanish. Further, we perform error handling for client set. Actually, skip error handling. We are not performing anything with error handling, but just defining the skeleton around that. Error processing client set. Save it. Again, build it. So we have a missing package, Kubernetes. Case.io Client-Go slash Kubernetes is something that we will import here. And this we will extract. Go get. Yeah. While this is pulling that out, I'll save this and be ready to build again. Okay. Kubernetes package is available, but this definition new for config is not available. So there's a typo here. Let's build it again. So this time we have config defined and used. Now further we have client set defined but unused. That's okay. We are good now. Next, we will set the context. So I would like to mention here that when a binary or a client is running inside a cluster, the kubelet will automatically mount a service account into that container at /var. Basically /var /run secrets kubernetes.io/service account. Okay, so now context equal to context.background. And then we are ready to get the part details now. Fetch the part details. Parts error colon equal to client side dot. We know paths are defined under core v1. We have seen that before. Let's try to get it for the default service account. And then filter it with the listing. Meta v1 dot options. For this, we need to import the API machinery. case.io/API machinery machinery / pkg APIs / meta / v1, and we know that we have to pull this. Go get. All right. Before proceeding, let me tell you that core v1 here and pods are generally referred to as builder calls. Since they build the request here is for listing the pods. The list call sends the HTTP request to the Kubernetes server, and on success, it returns 200. The results of the body that is returned by the call will be in form of JSON, which is default for Client-Go, or sometimes even protocol buffers. Let's continue now with error handling. So again, I copy this, paste it here. So this is about error %yes processing paths for a given namespace. The namespace here is default namespace, which we have hard-coded. It's worth mentioning here that in a production system, when you're writing applications like this to fetch details from the API server, you should handle errors and security aspects as to keep secrets in eVault, not being exposed in the application itself. Next, our goal is to dump the number of paths in the given namespace. So you just go ahead and dump the number of paths. In the given namespace. Default here. We have mentioned default here. fmt dot printf the number of paths in %yes namespace is %d. Okay, so we just say default here and grab the len of paths dot items. With this, we are close to the end of the application that dumps the number of paths for the default namespace, and save it and good to run. line 37. Okay, we forgot to run the sanity check as usual. That's okay. This needs to be curly braces. Context needs to be defined here. Save it. Build. Build again. Okay, we should have the binary and parts. We have. So, and parts. So we should get the number of parts in default namespace is 2. Okay, the kubeconfig is not available in Vidya, or it must be there in Vidya. That's why we get this segmentation fault. Yeah, it's not there. Yeah, it's available under Vidya. So let's go ahead and change this. Fine. Go build. And part set. Good. We have seen that there are 2 pods defined and up and running in the default namespace, and so we have 2 reported here. We can make an attempt to delete this and create more pods. kubectl get deployments. So I'll delete this deployment. kubectl delete deployment. We are done. Now if we attempt to dump the pods, we won't find any. Yeah, good. So now instead of 2, we can make it 4. Instead of deployment, we simply say deploy. Now kubectl apply -f deployment.yaml. Okay, it was there in the previous directory. All right. So kubectl get pods. The 4 pods coming up. Good. Let's check that later. So, but here n pods should now give 4. Good. And now this should have all the pods running. That's it. We have been successfully able to demonstrate utilization of Client-Go library for dumping number of paths in a given namespace. Thanks for watching. If you like the kind of video that I'm making, consider subscribing. Thank you again.